I'm going to be sharing part two of working on this embroidery project. So this is actually going to be the final part to this project because I actually finished this yesterday. So on Sunday I did part one, which was opening the pattern, just looking at it, reading the instructions, and starting on the stems of the flowers. So yesterday I went ahead and I actually finished it, which, not gonna lie, that was actually not my intention. I intended on maybe just doing like all the flowers and then doing a part three and doing like the little butterfly as well as little bumblebee. But I was like, you know what? I have a feeling this is going to go by very, very quickly, so let's just go ahead and do it. And it went by very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. I did not, when it came down to doing the flower part of this, as well as the bumblebee, as well as, well, actually the bumblebee, I did use the thread that came in the packet. But for the, like the main color of the butterfly, as well as the rest of the flowers, I actually used thread that we got separately because I just wasn't feeling any of the colors in the pattern. And a little bit of like a side note for anyone who's into crafting, if there's a pattern and a specific color scheme, like, of course, like if you like the colors that are in the pattern, you can of course use them. But if you're a person that just would rather use your own colors, that's exactly what I did with this. I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out because one thing I have noticed about embroidery kits so far, the last two ones that I've worked on, everything has more of a neutral feel, which there's nothing wrong with that. However, I like to have a lot of color. Like, I love adding like pinks and purples and all that type of stuff. So I just went ahead and used the thread that my mom actually made me an embroidery kit with. She got me a couple of months ago like a pack of, like, I think it was pastel colored thread. She got me a little pair of what look like tatting scissors, but I think they're called crafting scissors. Those things are very tiny but mighty. And she got me this little felt booklet that you can put your embroidery needles into. Like, you stick them in there and it keeps them safe and protected, and you don't have to worry about them falling all over the floor. We also got, I think, some threaders, as well as a little like sewing retractable, like a circular measuring tape, because my grandmother, she has one of those in her purse at all times, and my mom, she has multiple of those like laying around the house. And my mom was like, you need to get one. You need to get one for this embroidery kit, and this is something that you will use way more than you think. So we got that, which was so cute. And we also got like a couple of embroidery kits. And at some point, I don't know when I'm going to try this, but we got some, I think it's called punch needle kits. She got me, I think like one or two of those. She got me like the thing that you use to do the craft, as well as she got me some thumb protectors, because she's like, once you accidentally poke yourself, she's like, those things are very painful, because she used to do that, and she's like, the amount of times that I accidentally poked myself. But yeah, so I don't know when I'm going to start those. I'm a little nervous to try that. I'm a little excited to try that. We'll see how that goes when I go to do it. I don't know when I'm going to do another embroidery project. I think I have either another one sitting in my embroidery kit. It's either I have another one or I have two more. I can't remember. But this is a fun little craft for me to do outside of like reading, nail art, etc. This also, I think, would be something that you could take, like if you're going on like a vacation or something. Like, I think this would be very simple to do, like sitting at a campfire. Probably could do this thing on a beach. I would recommend keeping like the pattern, the thread, all of it in a Ziploc bag. That way you have everything together and you don't worry about losing anything. So I wanted these little purple flowers here, I wanted them to look like lilac. That was like the goal, or like little lavender pieces. That was the goal for the middle flowers here. But like I said, I just did the colors that I wanted to do, and I thought it turned out really, really cute. But of course, if you are a person that prefers to stick to you know, the color scheme of the pattern, you can of course do that. Now, one thing I did do differently with this is when you look at embroidery kits, this is something I did not know until the bookshelf pattern that I did, or the bookshelf kit that I did. I did not know that you were supposed to take the piece of thread and break off X number of strands. Did not know that until my mom told me that. And there's a part of me that likes that idea, and there's a part of me that says I'm not doing that idea because, one, I found that the thread can get knotted very easily. But also, when it came down to this pattern, it was so funny because my mom was sitting on the other side of the room and she goes, "You didn't pull apart the thread like you were supposed to, did you?" And I'm like, "No." She goes, "I can tell. I can hear it over here." And she's like, "You don't like doing that, do you?" And I'm like, "No." And I thought it, I personally, and again, this is just me making this project my own. Like, again, I'm just going to say this. I just like to do things in my own way. Yes, I will follow a pattern, but I like to do things in my own way. I liked it better with the full thing of thread because I thought it just looked more full with the flowers, if that makes sense. But yeah, like, yes, there are some patterns out there. There are some crafts out there that you have to be very, very like meticulous with. But I was like, we're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and do this the way I want to do it. And I was just very happy with the way it turned out. It's going to be interesting to try a punch needle though. I'm very excited to try that, but at the same time, I'm a little nervous. But I will say though, is that if you are looking for a really like, probably what you would call like sentimental mixed with like a handmade gift, for like a birthday, an anniversary, special occasion, whatever it may be, I would recommend doing embroidery because, one, it's really pretty. There's multiple different types of embroidery kits that you can get. We got the everything at Hobby Lobby, but when you search embroidery kits on Amazon, you get a lot of options. So I would recommend doing something like embroidery because you can frame it and hang it on the wall. You can put it on like a little photo stand. You could turn it into a pillow. I'm assuming you could probably put it on a quilt, something like that. So, just an idea. It was so funny because I think it was the year before last year. My grandmother, she made my mom this. She loves cardinals. She made my mom this pillow that was an embroidered cardinal sitting on a branch with some flowers on it. And I was watching her because she was doing this embroidery, and I was like, "Are you gonna have time to finish that?" Like, it was one of those projects that was bigger, and I was like, "Are you gonna have time to finish that?" And she's like, "I think so." And it was just so funny because that has a permanent spot on the couch now, that pillow. But I think that's what kind of started me doing the whole embroidery thing. I was like, that looks actually really, really interesting. And yeah, like I said in the last part to this video, the first part, I said that I am trying not to be as much of a perfectionist as I used to be, because being a perfectionist, I think, is something that can add like a lot of stress and make you feel very overwhelmed, especially if things are not 100% perfect. But yeah, so I'm trying not to be a perfectionist, but I just thought this turned out really, really cute. And when I get one color of thread, I'm going to do basically as much as I possibly can with that one strand of thread until it's, used up. So I'm going to go ahead and say again, as a reminder, I am not a pro at embroidery. I am very much a beginner. Yes, I have learned a lot since starting that first embroidery project I think it was December. But because for anyone who is a pro at embroidering, who may be watching this video or something like that, or just knows more about embroidery than I do, I know I'm making mistakes. I know it is not perfect. I know all of that. I am just learning it. I'm having fun with it. I find this to be very relaxing. And as my family would say, whenever I decide to start a new project, um, everybody's got to start somewhere. And yeah, everybody's got to start somewhere. So if you are new into crafting or you're trying something for the first time and it's not that good, keep in mind everybody's got to start somewhere, and don't feel bad. Sometimes, now there are sometimes when you try something and you're like, you know, that was pretty darn easy. You know, things like that happen, like beginner's luck, as they say. But again, if you are new to something, just keep in mind that you're going to make mistakes. You're probably going to end up taking part of a project out. You're going to end up wanting to throw the project across the room. That happened to me with the bookshelf project. I almost chucked it across the room a few times. But again, everyone, as my family would say, everyone has to start somewhere. So don't feel bad. Just keep going, keep practicing, and you'll get there. You'll get better and better each time you do it. So I just want to go ahead and say that as a very quick reminder. So I did do some of this off camera a little bit, because sometimes it's easier to do some parts of this off camera. I will say though that I kind of wish that I had done the one flower, the blue flower there, in a little bit of a different color, or maybe like a lighter blue. But I was trying to incorporate the darker blue that I used for that butterfly. I was trying to incorporate it. But I still think it turned out really, really pretty. And also, if you're a person that does not like summer, which I completely understand, um, little projects like this are a really great way to pass the time, because you could probably start a project, like a bigger one if you wanted to, and just do it like all throughout the summer as like a way to take your mind off, whatever aspects of summer you don't like. And it's a great way to keep yourself distracted, which that sounds really, really kind of pathetic. But I 100% understand that, because I do not like the heat of summer. I used to be able to tolerate it, not so much anymore. The bugs, I did get a new bug zapper. I just got a bug zapper. So I will probably be enjoying that way too much. But I 100% understand not liking summer. So this, I think, would be a really fun little thing to do throughout the course of summer, to just distract yourself if you are eagerly waiting for the fall. Anyway, so this is it for part 2 of working on this embroidery project, which happens to be the final part. I thought this turned out so cute, and I hope that this video was relaxing.